I killed my best friend last night. But not with my hands, with hers. The body I woke up in wasn't mine. And the man who'd stolen my life was still breathing, sipping bourbon in a penthouse that used to be home. If hell has a VIP list, my name's at the top. And I'm crashing the party with a smile that isn't even mine. It started in the Bowery, that festering underbelly of Manhattan where the tourists don't wander and the locals pretend they don't live. Rain hammered the sidewalks like God's own hangover, turning the gutters into rivers of yesterday's regrets. I was Valentina Ruiz, 32, a mid-level accountant at Sterling and Hale, the kind of firm where the partners golf with senators and the interns fetch their dry cleaning. My life was a spreadsheet, predictable columns, no surprises, until Marcus Hale decided I was the perfect scapegoat. Marcus wasn't just my boss, he was the golden boy of Wall Street, the guy with the Ivy League smirk and a Rolodex full of congressmen. We'd hooked up once, after a late-night audit in the conference room, whiskey on his breath, my ambition clouding my judgment. It was a mistake, but not the kind that ends careers. No. His mistake was embezzling $12 million from the firm's pension fund to cover his gambling debts in Atlantic City. And mine? Signing off on the falsified reports he'd slipped into my queue, all while he whispered promises of partnership in my ear. By the time the feds came knocking, I was the one in cuffs, paraded through the lobby like a trophy kill. Corporate fraud, the headline screamed. Valentina Ruiz, the queen of creative accounting. Marcus testified against me, his voice steady as he detailed how I duped him, the poor trusting CEO. The jury bought it, 12 good Americans who saw a Latina from the Bronx with a chip on her shoulder and figured she fit the profile. 5 years in Bedford Hills. Minimum security, but maximum isolation. I lost everything, my apartment, my savings, my name. Even my reflection started looking like a stranger. Parole came early, after 3 years of good behavior and a therapist who nodded sympathetically while I screamed into pillows about betrayal. It's not about revenge, Valentina, she'd say. It's about healing. Bullshit. Healing is for people who haven't had their lives gutted by a man who still vacations in the Hamptons. I hit the streets of New York with $200 in my pocket and a fury that burned hotter than the summer subways. That's when I saw him, the stranger. He was mid-40s, sharp suit rumpled like he'd slept in it, weaving through the crowd on East Houston with the desperation of a man chasing his last fix. I was nursing a coffee in a dive diner, scrolling job listings that all blurred into entry-level admin when our eyes locked. Not in a romantic comedy way, more like predator and prey, though I couldn't tell which was which. He paused, rain dripping from his fedora, and muttered, "You ever wonder if there's a place where the game's rigged from the start? Where you can rewrite the rules?" I laughed, bitter as black coffee. Every day, buddy. Every damn day. He smiled, teeth yellowed from too many smokes, and jerked his head toward the alley. Then follow me. Eternal echoes. It's not on any map. Something in his voice hooked me, part con, part confession. Maybe it was the rain, or the way my parole officer's last words echoed, "Stay out of trouble." Val. Trouble? I'd been drowning in it. What was one more dive? The alley smelled like piss and forgotten dreams. Fire escapes dripping rust onto my sneakers. He slipped through a door that shouldn't have been there, warped oak. No handle. Just a brass knocker shaped like a coiled serpent. It creaked open on its own, exhaling a puff of warm air laced with garlic and something metallic, like old coins. I hesitated, heart pounding like a bass line in a trap house. This was stupid. This was the kind of impulsive crap that lands ex-cons back inside. But Marcus's face flashed in my mind, his smug testimony, the way he'd patted my shoulder in court like I was a naughty intern. Screw it. I followed. Inside. It wasn't an alley's end, it was another world. Velvet curtains partitioned off booths where shadows murmured in languages I half recognized. Spanish. Mandarin. That clipped British accent the hedge funders love. Crystal chandeliers dangled like frozen fireworks, casting fractured light on mahogany tables set with silver that gleamed unnaturally. No menu. No waitstaff hustling for tips. Just a maitre d', in a tuxedo too crisp for this humidity, who nodded at the stranger like they were old poker buddies. MS. Ruiz, he said, my name rolling off his tongue like he'd been expecting me. Your table's ready. The stranger, call him Elias, he said. No last name, led me to a corner booth upholstered in blood-red leather. A bottle of absinthe waited, 2 glasses etched with serpents that seemed to writhe in the low light. To second chances, Elias toasted, his eyes hollow as the Grand Canyon. I sipped, the liquid burning green fire down my throat, tasting of licorice and lies. We talked, or rather,
he monologued.
Eternal Echoes wasn't a restaurant, it was a nexus. A glitch in the fabric of reality where the desperate could trade pieces of themselves. Souls, memories, bodies. For a price, he whispered. Always a price. I laughed again. Harder this time. What? Like some Faustian diner? Spare me the occult TED Talk. But his story wormed in. He'd been a stockbroker, ruined by a bad tip, until he traded his youth for a decade of luck.
Now.
The bill was coming due, wrinkles creeping, deals souring. You want revenge? He asked, leaning in, breath like wormwood. Real revenge. Not the courtroom kind? Trade with me. Slip into the skin of the one who broke you. Live their life. End it on your terms. The absinthe hit like a freight train. My vision swam, the serpents on the glasses uncoiling, slithering up my arm. Marcus's face superimposed over Elias's, smug, untouchable. The betrayal surged, the forged signatures, the anonymous tip to the SEC, the way he'd slept with my roommate while I rotted in prison. I'd taken the fall for his sins, gagged by NDAs and threats from his lawyers.
How?
I croaked, the word tasting foreign. Elias grinned. Feral. Drink deeper. Say the name 3 times. The echoes listen. Desperation clawed at me, sharper than the bars of my cell. Marcus Hale, I whispered, then louder, the syllables venom on my tongue. Marcus Hale.
Marcus Hale.
The world tilted, velvet walls folding like origami. Pain lanced through me, not physical, but existential, like my soul was being unzipped. Elias's eyes widened, then glazed, as if he were watching from afar. The booth spun, and when it stopped, I wasn't me anymore. I blinked, and the world sharpened into opulence. Penthouse views of Central Park, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city like a conquered kingdom. My hands, his hands, were manicured, gold Rolex glinting under recessed lights. I stumbled to the mirror in the master bath, marble cold underfoot. Staring back was Marcus Hale, chiseled jaw, salt and pepper hair, eyes like polished obsidian. But inside, it was me, Valentina, screaming silently. The swap. It had worked. Or had it? Panic hit first, then power. I rifled through his closet, Armani suits, cufflinks engraved with the Hale family crest. His phone buzzed, a text from Daddy's girl, his daughter. Eliza, 19 and studying at Yale on my dime. Back when I managed the household accounts. Dinner tonight? Miss you. I typed back. Fingers clumsy in the skin. Wouldn't miss it. Kiddo. The lie tasted sweet. Elias's voice echoed in my head, faint as a bad connection. The echoes hold the thread for 48 hours. Use it wisely. After that, the price extracts itself. 48 hours to dismantle the man who dismantled me. I poured a scotch, his favorite, neat and plotted. Step 1, the evidence. Marcus had buried it deep, but I'd seen the files. The offshore accounts in the Caymans funneled through shell companies I'd helped set up. In his body, I had access. Logins, passcodes whispered in post-coital haze. By dawn, I'd wired $2 million to an anonymous crypto wallet, enough to start, not enough to trigger alarms. But revenge isn't just financial, it's personal. I called his wife, Lydia, blonde, Botoxed, the trophy who'd looked through me like I was the help. Darling, something's come up. Board meeting in D.C. Be back tomorrow. Her voice purred disappointment, but I heard the relief. She'd never loved him, just the lifestyle. Next, the office. Sterling and Hale's tower loomed like a glass phallus on Park Avenue. I strode in as Marcus, security nodding deferentially. Morning, Mr.
Hale.
The corner office smelled of leather and entitlement. Photos of him shaking hands with senators on the walls. I fired my assistant first, Jenny, the one who'd leaked my prison psych evals to the tabloids for a byline. Personal reasons, I said, watching her face crumple. Controversial? Hell yes. She was innocent in the big scheme, but complicity has degrees. Then, the real work, pulling the pension fund ledgers, cross-referencing with a Fed-sealed indictment I'd glimpsed in Discovery. There it was, the smoking gun, a memo in his handwriting authorizing the diversion. I scanned it to a burner email. Anonymous tip ready to fly to the DOJ. Lunch was at per se. Marcus's ritual with power brokers. I sat among them, senators. Tech moguls, dropping hints like grenades. Heard about that pension mess at S&H? Rumor has it, the CEO's hands aren't clean. Eyebrows raised. Whispers started. By dessert, the table buzzed with speculation. Plant the seeds. Watch the forest burn. Evening brought Eliza. The townhouse on the Upper East Side was a monument to excess. Warhol prints. A wine cellar bigger than my old apartment. She hugged me, him, tight, smelling of vanilla and youth. Dad, you look
Off.
Everything okay? Guilt twisted, sharp as a shiv. She was collateral, the innocent thread in this web. But Marcus had used her too, parading her at galas to launder his image. Over steak au poivre. I probed. Your mom's been distant. Any secrets I should know? She blushed, stammering about a boyfriend, some poli-sci major with trust issues. Don't worry.
Kid.
Dads fix things. That night, alone in the king bed with Egyptian cotton sheets, doubt crept in. This body felt wrong, heavy with privilege, light on conscience. Dreams fractured. My cell block morphing into the restaurant. Elias laughing as serpents devoured my reflection. Woke sweating. The clock ticking, 24 hours left. Day 2 dawned with fallout. His phone exploded. Bored calls. Lydia's voicemails laced with suspicion. Marcus. What the hell? Jenny's calling everyone. Saying you assaulted her. Assault? I'd barely raised my voice. But in the echo chamber of wealth, rumors metastasize. I ignored it. Heading to the Cayman's flight, private jet. Naturally. The island heat slapped like a betrayal, humidity clinging as I met the fixer, a Bahamian shark in linen who handled the shells. Mr.
Hale.
Always a pleasure, he grinned, but his eyes darted. I'd come as Marcus, but the absence residue hummed. The echo's gift. A sliver of intuition. The full audit, I demanded. Every transfer. He hesitated, then pulled files, $12 million traced to Marcus's vices, high-stakes poker, mistresses in Vegas. But deeper, a hidden ledger, payoffs to a DA who'd buried the initial probe. The betrayal layered, not just fraud, but corruption woven into the system. Back in New York by dusk, the climax brewed. Lydia confronted me at the penthouse, martini in hand, eyes like daggers. You're not yourself, Marcus. What's going on? Her perfume choked me. Memories flooding. How she'd hosted the holiday party where Marcus announced my promotion, right before the axe fell. I grabbed her wrist, too hard. Controversial in its intimacy. You knew, I hissed. About the books. You signed off on the caterers, but you saw the numbers.
Lie.
Half-truth. But it landed. She yanked free, face paling. You bastard. I covered for you because of Eliza. But this, you're unraveling. She stormed out, dialing her lawyer.
Perfect.
The dominoes teetered. I sent the tip, ledgers, memos, the DA's name. CC'd the Times, the Post. By midnight, alerts pinged, federal raid in progress at SNH. Sirens wailed below, lights flashing like strobes in hell. But revenge demands a face-to-face. I drove to the only place Marcus would run, his cabin in the Catskills, a retreat he'd bragged about during our affair. The winding roads blurred, this body's reflexes sharp from years of evasion. Dawn broke as I arrived, gravel crunching under tires. The door was ajar, fire crackling inside. There he was, me, huddled by the hearth, whiskey bottle half empty, eyes wild. Val, he croaked, scrambling up. The sight of my old body, curves softened by prison chow. Hair unkempt, hit like a gut punch. The swap's mirror, he in my skin, I in his. What the fuck did you do? Elias, that snake, said it was temporary. Alone, I laughed. Marcus's baritone booming. Temporary? Like your promises? You framed me. Marcus. Took my life. My freedom. Now I take yours. He lunged, clumsy in unfamiliar flesh. But I sidestepped, his own boxing lessons betraying him. We grappled, fists flying, the cabin a whirlwind of shattered glass and splintered wood. Controversial? Beating your own face bloody. Feeling the pain echo in stolen nerves. I pinned him, knee on my chest. The feds are coming. Your empire's ash. And this. I tapped his temple. That's mine now. His eyes, my eyes, pleaded. Eliza. She'll never forgive. The twist gutted me. In the scuffle, a photo fluttered from his pocket. Ultrasound printout. Dated last month. Lydia's secret. Confessed in fury. Not just a boyfriend for Eliza, a baby. Marcus's heir. But wait, the dates. My mind raced. Absinthe clarity cutting through. The affair hadn't ended with me. He'd continued. But the timeline. The funds diverted started before our hookup. I'd signed nothing initial. A setup from the start? No, deeper. Elias's voice intruded. A whisper in the wind. The echoes reveal all. Flash. Marcus's memory. Unbidden. Not his doing alone. His father. The senior partner. The real architect. Dying of cancer. Desperate to protect the legacy. Marcus the pawn.
Me the fall guy to shield the old man.
Betrayal squared. I'd suffered for ghosts. The thread snapped at noon. 48 hours exact. Pain ripped through. Souls recoiling like magnets. I gasped back into my body. Sprawled on the cabin floor. Marcus looming in his own skin.
Dazed.
Sirens howled distant.
Closing in.
He stared. Horror dawning.
Val.
What have I done? The twist reversed. Not just his crime, but a family curse. The Hale men devouring the women around them. I could end it. Push him into the fire. Claim self-defense. Controversial. Cathartic. Or walk. Let the law finish. But Eliza's face. The ultrasound. Debatable legacies. I stood. Legs shaky. Blood. Mine again, dripping from a split lip. Live with it. Marcus. Every mirror. Every boardroom. You'll see me. I left him there. Crumbling. The empire's king dethroned by his own reflection. Back in the city, the rain had stopped. Sun mocking through clouds. Parole clean. Charges dropped once the real ledger surfaced. Anonymous source.
Natch.
Lydia filed for divorce. Eliza reached out. Dad's a mess. Can we talk? I hung up. Deleted the number. Healing?
Nah.
But power that I tasted. Eternal echoes? The door vanished. Alley Bear as my conscience. Did I win? Revenge's a hollow plate. Echoes fading. But in the quiet, I hear the serpent's hiss. Trade again? The game's rigged.
All right.
And I'm all in. The aftertaste lingered, bitter as unswallowed pride. Weeks blurred into a haze of temp gigs, data entry in a WeWork cubicle farm. The irony not lost on me. New York's a machine that chews dreamers and spits out husks. And I was huskier than most. But the swap had changed me. Etched Elias's warnings into my marrow. The echoes don't forget. They collect. Nightmares came regular now. Velvet booths morphing into courtrooms. Marcus's face melting into mine. Eliza's ultrasound a glowing accusation. I avoided mirrors. But they found me anyway. In the YWCA bathroom. Steam fogged after a scalding shower. I'd traced the scars. Prison tats faded but stubborn. A rose vine on my ribs for the abuela who raised me in the Bronx projects.
Mia.
Revenge is a mirror that cracks, she'd say. Rosary clicking. Dead 5 years now. Cancer the quiet thief. If she saw me post echoes, she'd cross herself thrice. Work was a grind, but it paid for the one room in Washington Heights. Rent-stabilized miracle with a view of the George Washington Bridge blinking like a guilty eye. My parole officer, Ramirez, a burly Dominican with a mustache like a broom, checked in monthly. His notepad a judgment. Therapy? Valentina. And stay clean, no entanglements. Entanglements. If only he knew. The first collection came subtle. A wrong turn off the one train, spitting me into a Harlem block where brownstones whispered old money. A woman in pearls stopped me, eyes sharp as switchblades. You look like someone who owes. Lydia Hale. Incognito. No Botox armor today. She tracked me easy in this town, where secrets sell for subway fare. Marcus is ruined. Suing the firm. The feds circling his father like vultures. But you started it. I crossed arms, pulse thumping. Started? He framed me first. Lady. Your perfect life built on my back. She laughed.
Hollow.
Perfect? He confessed everything after the cabin, your little visit. Said you were a ghost in his skin. Delusional, the doctors say. But I know better. That photo you saw? Not his. Mine and my lover's. Marcus was sterile, irony.
Huh?
But you used it. Twisted the knife. Controversial truth. I'd assumed the worst. Let it fuel the fire. Guilt gnawed. But so did defiance. Cry me a river. Lydia. You hosted the parties. Sign the checks. Complicit. She slapped an envelope into my hand, thick.
Crisp.
Hush money. $50,000. Disappear. Or I'll make sure your parole's revoked for. Whatever you did to him. The door to her Lincoln slammed, tail lights fading into traffic. I burned the cash that night. Literally flames dancing in the sink, acrid smoke setting off alarms. Neighbors banged walls, but I laughed through coughs. No taint from hail money. But the echoes? They wanted more. Elias resurfaced in dreams first, then reality. A burner call at 3 a.m. Valentina. The price accrues interest. Meet at the echoes, or it finds you. The alley was dry this time. Autumn leaves skittering like roaches. The door yawned open. Same serpent knocker leering.
Inside.
The restaurant hummed quieter. Patrons' ghosts at half-empty tables. Elias waited in our booth. Aged a decade in months, skin sallow. Hands trembling on the absinthe. You look like shit, I said, sliding in. He chuckled, wheezing. The swap. It echoes. I got your anger, your fire. Burned through me like acid. Now it's your turn. The story spilled. Eternal Echoes wasn't born in New York. It was a ripple from Prohibition speakeasies. Immigrants trading fates to outrun the Depression. Owners changed, but the rule held. Balance the scales. Or the scales balance you. What do you want? I demanded. Glass untouched. Marcus is broken. Jobless. Holed up in that cabin. Popping Xanax like Tic Tacs. Eliza's at Yale. But she's spiraling, skipped classes. Hooked on whatever rich kids chase. His eyes gleamed. Not enough. The old man. Hale's senior, he's the root. Cancer's eating him. But he's pulling strings from hospice. Whispering to DAs. Burying deeper. Trade again. His body. Your blade. Temptation coiled. Serpent slick. The senior Hale. I'd met him once.
Christmas gala.
His grip like iron on my elbow. Good work, Valentina. Keep the numbers dancing. Dancing to his tune. Diverting funds for experimental treatments black market from Switzerland. My fall? Collateral for his immortality play. Betrayal's patriarch. But controversial, killing a dying man. Even in spirit, It skirted murder, danced on euthanasia's edge. What's the price this time? Elias leaned in. A year of your memories. The good ones, Abuela's kitchen. First paycheck pride. Gone. I drank. Green fire sealing the deal. Edward Hale, thrice named. The world folded again. Waking in hospice luxury. Private suite at Mount Sinai. Monitors beeping soft symphony. His body frail. 87. Skin paper thin over bones. But the mind, mine, sharp as a scalpel. Nurses cooed. Mr. Hale. You're looking spry. Spry? I felt like a husk animated by spite. IVs dripped morphine, but I ripped them free, plodding from the bed. Access was godsend. Laptop synced to firm servers. Passwords etched in muscle memory. Emails flew, anonymous dumps to journalists. Whistleblowers. The DA's payoffs exposed. Links to Russian oligarchs laundering through SH. By noon, headline screamed, Hale Legacy, Empire of Shadows. Marcus called. Voice cracking over speakerphone. Dad? The board's folding. Feds at the door. I rasped back. Hale's Wee's perfect cover. Fight it. Son. For the family. Evening brought the twist shadow. Eliza visited. Eyes red-rimmed. Yale hoodie swallowing her frame.
Grandpa.
They say you're rallying. But Dad, he's talking ghosts. About Mom's baby.
About you.
She clutched his hand, pulse weak under her fingers. I know about the fraud. Hacked your files last semester.
Thought it was a prank.
But Val Ruiz. She was innocent, right? You ruined her. The room spun. Monitors spiking. Her words unlocked Hale's vault. Memories not mine. Flooding. The setup, not just protection, but erasure. Valentina Ruiz wasn't random. She was targeted. Abuela's brother. My uncle. A union organizer who'd crossed Hale Sr. In the 80s. Beaten and vanished. Retribution. Generational. I'd been the echo. Paying for blood I didn't spill. Guilt crashed. Controversial flood. This body. This revenge, it perpetuated the cycle. I gripped her hand tighter. Eliza. Listen. The Hales. We're poison. Run. Her eyes widened, confusion blooming. But the thread held only hours now. I whispered confessions. The ledgers. The beatings. The uncle's grave in Potter's Field. She recorded it. Phone hidden. Tears streaming. The swap recoiled at midnight, slamming me back into my skin. Sprawled in the YWCA hallway. Neighbors peering. News alerts blared. Edward Hale Sr. Dead of complications. Confession leaked. Empire imploded. Arrests. Asset freezes. Marcus attempted suicide that night. Pills and bourbon. Saved by EMTs. Eliza? She vanished from Yale. A note. Breaking the cycle. Thanks. Val. Elias called again. Voice gloating. Price paid. Memories flickered. Abuela's tamales.
Warm. Gone.
Hollow victory. But in the empty apartment, I smiled. The echoes collected, but I'd tipped the scales. Winter clamped New York like a vice. Snow piling on fire escapes, turning the city into a muted postcard of isolation. I moved uptown. Sublet in Morningside Heights near Columbia, closer to the action, farther from ghosts. Gigs turned steady, Forensic accounting for a boutique firm. Irony's gift. Clients were whistleblowers. The wronged seeking audits on betrayers. You're a bloodhound, Val, my boss said. A wiry Jew from Brooklyn with a nose for numbers. Bloodhound. Fitting. After the Hales hunt. But the collections escalated. Echoes don't settle, they compound. It started with shadows, flickers in peripherals, whispers in subway rumbles. Oh, us. Ruiz. Then physical. A mugging that wasn't. Wallet untouched but ribs bruised. Assailant vanishing with a serpent tattoo on his neck. Elias warned via postcard. No return. The nexus hungers. Feed it, or it feeds. I resisted. Therapy sessions with a new shrink, Dr. Patel. Soft-spoken with chai breath. Trauma loops. Valentina. The swap, metaphor or not, it's PTSD manifest. Metaphor my ass. I spilled fragments. The restaurant. The trades. She nodded. Prescribing journals. Write the ending you want. Endings. Mine was open. Debatable, had I avenged? Or just avenged the Avenger? Marcus resurfaced. Uninvited. A letter. Scrawled on linen stationery from a midtown rehab. Val. I see you everywhere. The cabin. Your eyes and mine. It broke me open.
Come see.
Controversial pull. Hate him. But pity the shell. He'd lost the penthouse to liens. Lydia to divorce court. Eliza to parts unknown, California. Rumor had it. Studying environmental law. Fighting corporate poisons. Poetic. I went. Against Patel's advice. The rehab was sterile. Like a high-end kennel for fallen alphas. Marcus waited in the garden. Bundled in cashmere. Face gaunt but eyes clear. You came. No accusation. Just fact. We walked paths lined with bare oaks. Breath fogging. The old man. His confession. It was you,
Wasn't it?
in him. I nodded. Boots crunching frost. Echoes. Marcus. You introduced me to them. Indirectly. Your debts led to Elias. He stopped. Wind whipping. I didn't frame you alone. Dad orchestrated. Saw your uncle's fire in you. Wanted to snuff it. But I signed the memos. Me. Confession's weight hung. Controversial absolution? Why tell me now? He shrugged. Rock bottom.
And.
I loved you.
Val.
Twisted. But true. The affair wasn't just convenience.
Love.
The words soured. Betrayal's afterburn. Loved me enough to let me rot?
He winced. No.
That's why I'm testifying. Full disclosure. Feds want the whole Hale rot. In exchange, reduced sentence. For you, exoneration. Back pay. A check fluttered from his pocket. $1.2 million. Restitution. I tore it. Shreds snowing. Keep your pity. I want your ruin. But ruin's subjective. That night, driving back in a borrowed Civic, the shadows coalesced. A black SUV tailed, then rammed, fender bender on the West Side Highway. Out spilled goons. Serpent tats gleaming under sodium lights. Echoes sender guards. One growled. Crowbar swinging. Controversial fight. I wasn't the accountant anymore. Prison yard lessons, elbow to throat. Knee to groin. One down. Then sirens wailed. Cops hauled them. but their ink matched a cartel symbol. Whispers of Hale Sr.'s old ties to Colombian financiers. Elias met me post-brawl, the alley door ajar like an old wound.
Inside.
The restaurant pulsed, full house. Jazz saxophone wailing from hidden speakers. "You're late," he chided. "Booth waiting." Absinthe poured unbidden. "The Nexus tires of your debts. One more trade, or they take permanent." His face cracked, revealing rot, cheeks hollow, veins black as ink. The swaps had hollowed him, echoes compounding. "What's left to trade?" I snapped. He slid a dossier, yellowed pages. My uncle's case file. Disappeared 84. Body dumped in the Hudson. Ruled accident. But notes. Hale Sr. Paid off witnesses. Buried evidence. Your blood debt. Trade with the killer. The fixer who did the deed. He's alive. Rotting in Rikers for unrelated beef. And the line. Temptation's hook sank deep. Uncle Ramon. Stories of strikes. Songs in Spanish. The man who'd taught me chess on stoops. His loss hollowed Abuela. Turned her faith to ash. Controversial. Possessing a murderer. Using his hands for justice? It blurred vigilante and vengeance. America's dark heart. I drank, naming Victor El Lobo Morales thrice. The fold came swift, slamming me into a Riker cell, caught hard, air thick with bleach and despair. His body, muscled from yard time, scars like roadmaps of hits. Mine, but echoes, memories of the kill, bludgeon to skull, splash in black water. Nausea hit, but resolve hardened. Visitation logged me out easy. Morales had none left. I waited for the guard's shift, then acted. Controversial escape, shank from mattress stuffing, held to his throat in the John. Keys or lights out. He complied, trembling.
Outside.
Chain link and floodlights. But night swallowed me. Taxi to the old Hale estate in Westchester, foreclosed but guarded. Skeletons still rattling. The fixer's memory guided. Service entrance. Alarm codes unchanged. Inside. Dust-sheeted grandeur. Portraits of Hale's sneering. But the real prize, safe in the study. Combination from dreams. Open to files, Ramon's autopsy. Suppressed. Payoffs to cops. Even photos. My uncle's face frozen in agony. No gore. Just evidence. Cold as the marble floors. Dawn brought intruders, remnants of the cartel. Hale Sr.'s old allies cleaning house. Gunfire echoed. Controversial ballet. Morales's reflexes dodging bullets. Pistol from a goon's holster turning tide. Body slumped, no kills if avoidable. But one winged.
Gasping.
For the Lobo, I muttered, tying him for cops. The thread frayed as sirens neared. Back in my skin, gasping on the estate lawn, files clutched. News vans swarmed by noon. Hale's scandal deepens, union murder link exposed. Cartel ties unraveled. More arrests. Marcus walked free. Deals sweetened by his testimony. But Eliza? She surfaced. Email from Berkeley. Found the files too. Uncle Ramon, he was my godfather? We're kin.
Val.
Come west. The cycle cracked. Debatable mend. But echoes hungered still. Spring thawed the city. Cherry blossoms mocking the blood under bridges. I packed light, duffel with files. Laptop. The rose tattoo, itching like a promise. Berkeley called. Eliza's olive branch or trap. Kinship's controversial lore. Hails as family? Poison ivy. Maybe. But worth the rash. The drive cross-country was therapy on wheels, Amtrak sleeper. Diners in flyover states. Radio preaching redemption podcasts. For gift to live, some televangelist drawled.
Live.
I was scripting survival. Elias haunted the rear view. Hitchhiker in mirrors. Postcards piled at P.O. boxes. Balance overdue. The nexus wasn't done, it was patient, weaving debts into fate. In Omaha, a diner stop turned sour. Waitress, with serpentine spilling my coffee deliberate. Muttering, echoes remember. I bolted. Heart hammering, but no pursuit. Warning shot. Eliza met me at the Oakland airport. Changed, hair cropped, tattoos peeking, environmental slogans in script. Val. A hug tentative, then fierce. Her apartment off campus. Bookshelves groaning activism. Fridge stocked kale and kombucha. Over vegan tacos. Truths tumbled. Grandpa's files, I digitized them. Ramon Ruiz. He unionized the Hale warehouses. Exposed child labor in the 80s. Dad was 16. Idolized the old man. You were the echo. Payback for Ramon's betrayal. Betrayal's web tightened. Marcus had confessed more in rehab letters she'd forwarded. Sterile not from birth, but a procedure to end the line. Hale's senior's eugenics wet dream. Weeding weak blood. Lydia's lover? A ploy. IVF with donor sperm. The ultrasound. A lie to bind him. Controversial layers. I'd avenged a phantom pregnancy. Fractured a family on fault lines not mine. Why reach out? I asked. Fork paused. She met my eyes. Hale obsidian. Ruiz fire. Because you're the only one who saw through.
And.
Mom's sick. Cancer.
Like your abuela.
Irony bitch. Lydia. Stripped of armor. Hospice-bound in Manhattan. She wants to see you. Us. The flight back was turbulence incarnate. Skies mirroring gut churn. Manhattan welcomed with humidity hug. Subways sardined. The hospice smelled of wilted flowers. Monitors beeping dirge. Lydia lay frail. Oxygen mask fogging. But eyes sharp. Valentina. No hate. Just weariness. You destroyed us.
But.
Saved us too. Marcus is teaching high school now. Ethics. Of all things. Laughable. I sat. Eliza's hand in mine. Why me? Lydia coughed. Rasping.
Guilt.
I knew about Ramon, saw the photos once. As a bride. Buried it for the life. Now it's eating me. Confessions flood. She'd leaked the initial fraud tip. Not to save pensions, but to kneecap Edward's treatments. Avenge her own miscarriages pinned on him. Betrayals nested. Russian dolls of spite. Controversial mercy. I held her hand, whispering abuela's prayers in Spanish, rosary absent, but words sufficed. She passed at dawn. Eliza sobbing beside. Funeral was small. Press hounding but restrained. Marcus showed. Hollow-cheeked. Sued off rack. Truce, he murmured graveside. I nodded. Debatable peace, not forgiveness, but fatigue. But echoes demanded finale. That night, Ali called Doragape. Saxophone summoning. Inside. Packed. Souls trading futures. Air thick with packs. Elias at the bar. Decayed to skeleton. Eyes milky. Last call. Ruiz. The Nexus closes your tab. He poured absinthe. Final green. Trade with me. End it. The truth reversed. Elias wasn't stranger. He was Hale's senior's bastard. Hidden shame from a maid, Ramon's sister. My great-aunt. The swap's architect. Testing bloodlines. You followed because blood sings, he wheezed.
Now, merge.
One body. One end. Controversial apex. Possess the puppeteer. Dismantle from within. Or walk. Let the restaurant fade myth? I drank. Naming Elias Crowhale. The fold eternal, no pain. Just dissolution. Waking as hybrid. Valentina's fire in Elias's husk. Restaurant mine. Patrons blurred. Ghosts of Hale's past. Ramon's future. I shuttered the door. Serpent knocker melting. No more trades. Echoes silenced. Eliza waited outside. Ticket west in hand. Ready. Marcus? Teaching. Perhaps healing. Lydia's ashes scattered Hudson. Cycle broken. Ending debatable. Happy. In freedom's fragile? Tragic. In debts dissolved to dust? I followed her into dawn. New York's pulse sinking mine. The game's unrigged.
For now.
But mirrors whisper. Trade again?